after 3 days of staring at it, I had to rip it apart. No, I'm just kidding. This was never the plan. I always had to pull it apart. I need to extend the width of this front axle to match the width of the rear axle that originally came in the truck. I also have to put these hubs that originally came on the truck to match the rear, because they're different from, one's Wells, this brand here. I believe this is a green light, so they're different hub widths and all this. I need to source a proper size drive shaft to match the rear so that they're same girth. This is just one that I had I'm using now, but I'm going to source one that's the same width. I want some level of legitimacy here. These, if I had put these on properly, I'd have never got it apart. This is a different type of plastic. It's actually from the real automotive world, and they fit there so well. I'm so hell-bent on using them, but they don't melt well to this with the glue we use. So I actually have to put this back together with a high level of epoxy. So something of a JB Weld of sorts specific to plastic bonding for the automotive world. I'll show you if you ask any questions in the messages. I'll help you out there. But when we get it all put back together, I know I'm dragging you along just to salivate a little bit. We're going to build the drop box cover. We're going to build the link ladders off of that. We're going to get the 4-link going. It's going to be a little more modern as far as the 4-link setup goes. I'm going to box in case a lot of the axles, because they really don't match, so try to blend them a bit more, and it'll give it more surface area to put the 4-link tabs on. So I definitely think that it's going to be awesome when it's done. That was just a little bit to get your whistle wet on that first bit. No way in hell I would have put my name on that build prior, but it was a lot of fun. I did it to get measurements, ideas. This is kind of my first go at hobbyist stuff for, hell, I don't know, it's been 20 years, I bet. All right, so I cut the other sides of the rear end off. I'm about to cut these little hubs. I'm using obviously a pair of vice grips, but I'm gonna cut this up to make it fit inside of one of these styrene tubes. You can get at your local hobby shop for $1. And both of these will slide into the piece of tube that will extend to the proper width to match the rear end that I want to match that came out of the vehicle. Should be a pretty much easy swap, but a little bit of patience, a little tedious time, and we'll get there. Here we go. Okay, we're back at the table. So far what I've done is, like I said before, I widened the front axle to match the rear. I added some tube over the original rear end, kind of thickened it up, and I wanted to make sure that it was the same material as I used for my 4-link. And as far as the material goes, like I said before, I'm using the styrene. You can get it at your local hobby shop. It's very cheap. You cut it with a razor blade. Just take your time, measure twice, cut once. In this case, I did the tubes, and then I added the structure across the top of each rear end. As you can see, drilled the holes before I put it on. I added the new hubs, and the width is perfect. Really happy with how these turned out. I'll get you a little closer here. They're not great because they're not painted, and you can see all the marks and the scratches and the sanding, and the glue, what have you. But I think it's going to look pretty cool on the truck. And then also you'll notice this is still got to be sanded yet. Please disregard the bumpiness. These are hollow rear ends. I filled this actually with a couple of sheets of styrene. They stuffed in there the same way you would a wedge in some wood doors. And then I'm going to sand it down. And I did the same on this side. I added a big block that I'll sand down. Of course, you won't notice once it's all painted up. And just like that, we got epoxy setting up. It turned out all right. I'm not too terribly happy with how messy it got in the back, but it'll sand down, thankfully. I do have a drop box cover built. Got link ends on either side of it so far. I want to let this dry, sand it down, and then I'll attach the link ends just directly under the shock points, most likely. And then I will show you what I have in mind for the 4-link bars. Some holes in it. What I did was I cut the two out. I actually tacked them together with super glue, drilled the holes out at the same time so that they're perfectly even, or as good as I could get them.
strangest thing. It's shorter than you think.